They burned my house down because I refused to join the HOA. But they didn't know I was a federal judge. What started as neighborhood drama turned into a nationwide conspiracy. Bro, you won't believe what just happened to me. So I just moved into this new neighborhood in Magnolia Crest, supposed to be peaceful, quiet, HOA-run, cookie-cutter suburbia. You know the type. I bought this place from a foreclosure auction, didn't even realize there was an HOA until this woman named Cheryl Thornberry shows up at my door, wearing pearls at 9 a.m. like it's 1952, holding a clipboard thicker than a Bible. She goes, "Welcome to the community. Here's your HOA packet. Dues are $375 a month, payable in advance." I told her, "Thanks, but I don't do HOAs." She blinked like I just told her I worship goats or something. She looked down her nose and said, "That's not optional." I smiled and shut the door. That's when the weird stuff started. The next morning, my mailbox was on the ground, clean ripped like it had been yanked out with a truck. No note. 2 days later, someone poured wet cement into my driveway. I swear to God. And every time I left the house, I saw this group of Stepford-looking neighbors standing in front of Cheryl's garage, whispering. One of them, this guy Franklin Sneed, wears polo shirts with HOA logos like it's a sports team. He literally waved at me with a smirk while my tires were being slashed. So I install cameras, right? I'm not an idiot. I don't retaliate. I just watch. That's when things escalated. One night, 3:14 a.m. exactly, I wake up to this weird crackling sound. Look out my window, and my porch is on fire. Not like someone dropped a cigarette, no. This was deliberate. Gasoline. Accelerant. Flames licking the siding like it was personal. I ran outside, called the fire department, watched everything I owned go up in smoke. Neighbors just stood there in robes, arms crossed. Cheryl sipped tea. Sipped tea. Fire marshal said it looked suspicious. I handed over my security footage. 3 masked figures. One of them limping like Franklin does when it's cold out, dragging a gas can across my lawn. Here's the thing, they still thought I was just some nobody. They had no idea who they were messing with. Because what they didn't know is that I'm Judge Elijah Graves, Federal Circuit, Eastern District. Yeah, that Elijah Graves. I keep a low profile. I don't flaunt it. Never needed to. Until now. So I made a few calls. And then the subpoenas started. Alright, buckle up because this is where it really starts to unravel. So after I handed over the footage, I didn't hear from the fire marshal for 2 days. 2 days, which was weird. Government employees usually trip over themselves when a federal judge's house burns down under suspicious circumstances. I call the precinct. Guy on the phone stutters when I say my name, then says the case has been moved up the chain. What chain? I am the chain. Next morning, I wake up in the rental house my clerk found for me. Humble little spot near the city line. And there's a manila envelope shoved halfway under my door. No postage. No label. Just my name in all caps. Inside. A single Polaroid. Blurry. But you can clearly see my house mid-flames, and in the foreground, Cheryl. Holding a gas can. Smiling like she's posing for a Christmas card. You think that's nuts? On the back of the photo, written in red Sharpie. Some judges should stay out of neighborhood affairs. So now I know, they're not just some passive-aggressive HO weirdos. This is an actual cabal. These people are organized. Militant. They've gone full Waco over monthly dues and grass length. So I show the photo to my buddy from the bureau, Agent Devin Mace, a former Marine who drinks black coffee like water, and once broke a guy's arm in a courthouse elevator. He looks at the photo, raises one eyebrow and just goes, "Well, that escalated." He offers to loop in his task force unofficially. We start digging. Quietly. Cheryl Thornberry? Not her real name. Her real name is Charlotte Greaves, disbarred attorney. Used to work for a massive development firm out west. Got caught embezzling HOA funds from 3 neighborhoods in Nevada. Vanished before the trial. Somehow got a new ID and reappeared here as Cheryl. Running Magnolia Crest like it's her personal monarchy. And Franklin Sneed? Former private security, dishonorably discharged. He was kicked off a contracting job in Iraq for unauthorized methods of persuasion. Literal war crimes, my dude. And now he's head of the HOA compliance team. I'm not just living near psychos, I walked into a nest of them. Devin pulls some strings, gets us access to the HOA's financial records, and that's when the real fun starts. Magnolia Crest has been raking in hundreds of thousands in dues, but barely any of it goes to maintenance. No landscapers. No snow removal contracts. Just vague entries like consulting fees and compliance training. Then we find the shell companies. 6 of them. All registered under dummy LLCs. Traced to a P.O. box in Florida. And guess who opened those boxes? Yeah. Cheryl freakin' Thornberry. I'm sitting there in my temporary office, staring at this web of fraud and arson, when I get a knock on the door. Not a knock-knock. Like, the kind of knock that says whoever's behind it is here to make a point. I crack the door just a couple inches, hand on the Glock I keep in the drawer next to my keys. Standard issue, nothing flashy, and who's standing there? Franklin. Freaking. Sneed. In full khakis. HOA patch. Clipboard in one hand like it's a badge of honor, and, I kid you not, a tape measure in the other. Like he's about to measure my grass. At a rental property. He smiles. That weird, half-sane smirk where one side of his mouth pulls higher than the other. He leans in and says, "You're a hard man to keep out of a neighborhood, Judge." I don't say a word. I just stare. He goes on cool as a corpse. "You're behind on your compliance paperwork. We don't want this to escalate again." Again he says, "Like the last escalation, wasn't my house getting turned into a barbecue pit?" I step outside real calm, real slow. "Franklin," I say, "you know threatening a federal officer carries a minimum sentence of 5 years, right?" He chuckles. Like a guy who's already done time and didn't mind it. "I'm not threatening you," he says. "I'm offering you a way out. Cheryl wants a meeting." He hands me a flyer, actual flyer, like we're talking about a community bake sale. Big bold letters. Magnolia Crest special session. All residents encouraged to attend. Then in fine print. Guest speaker. Elijah Graves, SQ. No RSVP. No contact number. Just the location, the HOA Community Center. My name's not on any public registry. Not in the phone book. Not on any website. The only way they knew my full title? Someone ran my background. Which means they've got connections deeper than I thought. Maybe local law enforcement, maybe something worse. Devin's already tracking one of the HOA board members who made a suspicious wire transfer to a defunct account in Panama. He's working late that night, so he tells me don't go to the meeting alone. I nod. Then I go alone. I walk into that community center. 8:03 p.m. Fluorescent lights buzzing like dying wasps, and it's packed. Fold-out chairs. Punch bowls. Finger sandwiches on silver trays. They made it look like a PDA meeting. But no one's talking. Just staring. Cheryl's at the front. Hair perfect, pearls glistening, standing next to an easel with some kind of map on it. A blueprint. Of what, I can't tell yet. She taps the mic. "Welcome, neighbors. Let's get started." Then she looks directly at me. Only at me. "Our guest of honor has arrived. Shall we show him what we've been building?" The lights dim. The blueprint behind her flickers on. It's a development plan. Massive. Not just Magnolia Crest, but for more neighborhoods. All gated. All under the same HOA. All connected by some central underground facility labeled the Nexus. No joke. The Nexus. At this point, I don't know if I've stepped into a real estate conspiracy or a cult. Oh, I'm glad you're still here because this part? It's where the mask fully comes off. So Cheryl's standing in front of the blueprint like she's pitching a startup to venture capitalists from hell. And she says, and I quote, "Magnolia Crest was only phase 1. Compliance isn't just a policy. It's a culture. And tonight, Judge Graves, we invite you to become part of something much bigger." I'm still standing in the back, arms crossed, just watching. Not saying a word. Not yet. She points at the nexus on the map. This circular structure in the middle of the projected neighborhoods. "This is our hub," she says. "Where oversight, order, and elimination of dissent begins. A place for corrective measures, behavioral recalibration, and long-term compliance housing." I lean over to a guy sitting near me. Probably mid-50s, sunken eyes. HOA polo shirt buttoned to the top. I whisper, "Is this a joke?" He doesn't even blink. "She saved my marriage," he whispers back. Saved his marriage? What the hell is this, a housing cult or Scientology with lawns? Cheryl continues. But before expansion, we need to neutralize interference. Then she clicks a remote and a series of headshots flash across the projector screen. First photo? Me. Second? Agent Devin Mace. Third? A local reporter named Talia Voss. She's been sniffing around HOA corruption for a while. I remember her from a court case involving a fraudulent retirement community. Fourth? A city councilman who recently voted against rezoning, a plot Cheryl's shell company tried to acquire. Cheryl's voice drops a tone. These individuals represent chaos. And we are order. Franklin's standing in the corner now, arms folded, watching me like a nightclub bouncer waiting for an excuse. But I don't move. Not yet. I'm piecing it together. This isn't just about dues or lawn decor violations. This is ideological. These people think they're building a new society, one cul-de-sac at a time. And me? I'm the test case. Cheryl finally turns toward me again and says, Judge Graves, you've seen the future. You can fight it or you can guide it. You're respected. Influential. Imagine what we could accomplish with your endorsement. That's when I laugh. Out loud. Couldn't help it. I say, Cheryl, I've sentenced cartel enforcers, cybercriminals, and warlords. But you? You're the first HOA president to hand me a PowerPoint about gulags for non-compliance. Some people chuckle nervously. Others stay dead silent. Cheryl doesn't flinch. Just gives Franklin a little nod. And suddenly, two more guys, big ones, step out from behind the projector screen and start walking toward me. So I do what any sane man would do when surrounded by HOA cultists and deep state wannabes in a community rec center. I flip over the refreshment table and yell, You're all in violation of Federal Code 18 Section 241. Conspiracy against rights. Total chaos. Folding chairs flying. Franklin shouting. Someone knocks over the projector, sparks go flying. I duck, grab the mic stand, swing it like a bat at one of the goons, catches him right in the chest. He goes down. The second one grabs me by the collar, but before he can lift me, I hear the most beautiful sound in the world. Federal agents. Hands where we can see 'em. Devin. Brought back up. Real quiet like. Agents pour in through the side exits, weapons drawn, tactical gear, full sweep. Someone screams. Cheryl bolts for the fire exit, gone before they can cuff her. Franklin tries to pull some weird fake badge from his vest, but Devin just tackles him into a folding table. I'm standing there, covered in fruit punch and adrenaline, catching my breath. They think it's over. But I know better. Cheryl's out there. The blueprints are still missing. And the nexus? That thing already exists. Days after the rec center raid, I get a call from Devin. He's terse. We found it. The nexus. It wasn't a concept. It was real. Buried beneath the oldest block of Magnolia Crest, under Lot 14 to be exact. Cheryl's house. Turns out, during the original construction, the developers poured a basement-level facility beneath it, classified as a storm shelter. What it actually was. A command bunker. Devin and I arrived just before dawn. No sirens. No backup. Just two black SUVs, headlights off, parked silent across the street. We enter through the garage, which leads to a false wall, which opens with a biometric lock. Devin hacks it. Inside we find concrete stairs spiraling down into something cold. The nexus is slick, sterile, humming with low blue light. Rows of servers. Whiteboards with diagrams of neighborhoods, planned communities across the country. All with fake HOA names and black pins stuck to each. Fort Indira Heights, Maryland. Park Lane Commons, Colorado. Sunvale Hills, Texas. Dozens of them. And security footage. Not just of Magnolia Crest, but homes all across the U.S. People being monitored. Tracked. Files tagged with non-compliant, obstructionist, conversion potential. That's when it hit me. Magnolia Crest wasn't the start. It was a prototype. And Cheryl? She wasn't the head. She was the face. We dug deeper. Found documents linking the whole operation back to an offshore data firm called Covenant Civic Solutions. A shell under a larger contractor tied to federal surveillance tech, privatized corrections, and housing developments. Yeah, this thing reached beyond one rogue HO. We got warrants. Raided 4 properties in 3 states. Arrested 2 ex-CIA operatives running behavioral compliance audits. in gated communities. A former HUD official went into hiding. Cheryl? Still missing. Last seen on traffic cams boarding a private jet from Atlanta to the Caymans. I returned to what was left of my house. Charred. Empty. But I stood on that ground and made a silent promise. This wasn't about me anymore. It was about every neighborhood across the country. Every family being watched, bullied, manipulated under the guise of homeowner harmony. So I took leave from the bench. Not retirement. Just long enough to do what needed to be done. Because there's a war coming. Not with tanks or missiles. But with property codes, zoning laws, and digital compliance scores. And me? Judge Elijah Graves? I'm on the front line now. And the next HOA that tries to silence someone, they're gonna find out exactly who they're messing with. If you thought this was wild, trust me, it's just the beginning. I've got more stories, more secrets, and way more than HOA drama coming your way. So hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications because you won't believe what's next. This is Judge Graves signing off for now.